Hello and welcome to Whisks and Legends, a series where I retell myths, legends and folklores whilst baking a recipe that I have not always, but most of the time, never made before. And today we're retelling Romulus and Remus and the founding of Rome, whilst making a cake called Torta Antica Roma. And can we just take a moment to appreciate this cake? Pastry, ricotta, jam. This is the most Laura looking dessert that ever lured. I am super excited. So let's get into it. First things first is making the pastry. We got all the usual ingredients: butter, sugar, flour, and an egg. And we're gonna mix these together. So our tale begins in a city called Alba Longa. Alba Longa was originally founded by a man named Ascanio, who was the son of the Trojan hero Aeneas. And Alba Longa was a city on the right hand of the river Tiber. The river is important. And yes, if you caught on to the Trojan hero part, then that's because there is elements of Greek mythology in here too. It's kind of like mixed in. And for a long time, this family reigned over Alba Longa peacefully. But that was until one day, dun dun dun, when the current king Procus died and he left the throne to the next in line, which was his son Nemeter. However indeed, Nemeter's brother Amulius, he did not like this, no. He did not like it at all. And so, by force, Amulius overthrew Nemeter, casting him aside, exiling the man, and then proceeded to kill all of his male heirs. And he even went as far as to force Nemeter's daughter, Rhea Silvia, to become a Vestal virgin to really prevent any future males coming in and trying to take his throne. Ha! If only it was as simple for Rhea Silvia. You see, despite her Vestal virgin status, she had caught the eye of a god, specifically the god Mars. In Roman mythology. In Greek mythology, this would be Ares, but we're not talking about Greek mythology right now. And voila! Rhea Silvia was now pregnant and gave birth to twin boys, Romulus and Remus. Outraged, Amulius imprisoned Rhea Silvia. Lock her up and throw away the key, I say. And as for the twin boys, he said, take them out of town and finish the job now. Just kidding. He didn't say that. He instead condemned the babies to death to be thrown into the river Tiber. Man, this... Let me just finish this squelching. Indeed. However, the servant that was in charge of disposing the children could not bring themselves to do such a heinous task, and instead had a Moses moment and placed the twins in a little basket and pushed them out to the river Tiber, letting them float away. Alright. We got our pastry dough. We're gonna wrap this up and leave it in the fridge to where the boys begin their journey. And to keep the boys safe, the river god Tibernus calmed the waters and caused their basket to catch in the roots of a nearby fig tree. And it was here where someone or something heard their cries. A she-wolf named Lupa dragged the basket with her teeth into her lair in Palatine Hill and nursed them with her milk as a woodpecker or a picus, sacred to the god Mars, fed the boys with scraps of meat, berries, and all the things the forest has to offer, thus giving us the famous image of Romulus and Remus and the she-wolf. Eventually, though, they were found by people, a farmer named Faustulus and his wife Acca. And Romulus and Remus grew up to be shepherds just like their adopted father, naturally became leaders in their community until one day everything changed. Okay, so the dough is cold, the oven is on, and a little tin is floured and buttered, ready to go. Since my tart tin is humongous, so it was not acceptable today. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, where is my flour? Oh. Cut the dough in half, because half goes on the bottom and up and the other half goes on top, and then we're gonna roll it out and put it in our tin. Yeah. So one day Romulus and Remus were out herding their sheep, and they were, oh no, I was meant to cut this in half. Damn you, Romulus. Perfect. I might put the other half in the fridge to keep it cool. So they were met by shepherds, but not just any shepherds. No, these were shepherds of King Amulius. Dun dun dun. This is really soft. It's fine. It's gonna be okay. We're just gonna do this real gently into a circle and then lift it as we go. I don't know what I'm doing. So they were met by shepherds who were supporters of King Amulius. You have to understand that people that were on the side of the brothers, they were believers that Nemeter was the true king. The Alba Longa side were supporters of King Amulius. So these shepherds, the supporters of Amulius, they arrived with beef, searching, picking, itching for a fight. And from this fight, oh my god! Okay, this is, oh my god. From this fight, there was a scuffle and a huffle, and these shepherds, the ones that support Amulius, they yoinked up Remus, threw him over the shoulder, and they legged it all the way back to Alba Longa and presented him before King Amulius. They were taking hostages, people, hostages! But was Romulus gonna let this slide? No, no sirree. Romulus gathered and incited a band of local shepherds, herding sticks and all, to join him in rescuing his brother. And after the altercation took place with these trouble-making shepherds, that was when Faustulus, their adoptive father, told them of their true identity. And so, Romulus arrives with his pack. He's got his gang of shepherds, and they ain't taking hostages. They successfully freed Remus and lured King Amulius into a trap where he was ambushed and then KO, but dead. Alright, so let's check in. I tried to, it's like the walls, the cake walls. It's almost like they're foreshadowing events to come. And now we get to do the filling. So we're doing a layer of jam and then a layer of sweetened ricotta. Oh no, I was supposed to prod it with a fork. Chip, 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 fork time. So after King, well, he ain't a king no more. Amulius was taken out. Romulus and Remus were both offered the crown of Alba Longa. However, they wanted to create their own city, build their own settlement, and instead gave the crown back to its rightful owner, rightful heir, Nemeter. So Nemeter is back in charge. Yay! So Romulus and Remus both returned, deciding which hill they would like to build their settlement. And this, my friends, is where trouble starts. the trouble begins. And that's my jam. The jam looks good. This looks yummy. It's almost like the jam looks like blood or something. Perhaps of a future circumstance to take place in this story. Almost like foreshadowing. I have strawberry. Shall we add that as well? Ooh, delicious. Oh. Foreshadowing. Okay, ricotta time. So there were 7 hills for the brothers to choose from. And trouble is afoot, friends. Trouble is afoot. Whilst Romulus wished to build their city on Palatine Hill, Remus preferred Aventine Hill. They argued, quarreled, bickered, with no resolution in sight. And in order to settle this, they decided to consult an augury. And an augury is a type of prophecy where they use birds to determine what actions or persons the gods favor. So Romulus and Remus were both on their selected hills that they wanted to build their city on. And they kept an eye out for these birds. And once they met up once more, let me get my cake. So Remus claimed that he saw 6 of these auspicious birds, specifically vultures, to which Romulus replied, 6? Ha! I saw 12. Is that not the most sibling reaction ever? I saw 6. Well, I saw 12. Yeah, well, I saw them first. Agree to disagree. 'Twas the way upon these hills. With no resolution to this, Romulus just decided, I'm gonna build on Palatine Hill by digging a trench and forming a wall around his city. And in response to this construction, Remus, the silly sausage, became quite the menace. He made continuous fun of this wall of Romulus, hopping around on the top and jumping over the sides. And it was this belittlement that ultimately killed him. Now, there are a few versions to what specifically caused Remus's death. Some sources say it was the fall off the hill. We can work with this. Stop breaking on me. Unfold yourself, you cretin. Some sources say it was the fall that killed Remus, and was taken as a sign from the gods of the power and fate that lies in Romulus's new city. And other sources, and arguably the most popular, is that in a fit and rage, Romulus's supporters, or Romulus himself, threw a shovel at Remus's head, which killed him. K.O. Reminds me of my childhood, when I was a wee cherub and I threw a bat at my brother's head. I mean, luckily the bat was made from foam, and he is very much alive and thriving, and for some reason we get along really well. Maybe I knocked some of his brain cells out. I'm just covering the ricotta parts. La mia torta. You know, this cake is a bit of a troublemaker, just like Remus. Spread, you fool! Whatever the consensus about Remus's death, it seems like it was all in all an accident, either done by Remus's own fault by falling off, or it was done by his followers in a fit of anger, or Romulus himself. Either way, it didn't seem like it was wholly intentional. It was something he felt quite upset about. But at least now he can build on his city. He can build his city. I think I went a bit milk mad. Oh well, in the oven you go. And now we are entering the official founding of Rome. Romulus finished building his beautiful city, which he named Roma after himself. The city actually became quite popular, but perhaps not in a good sense. You see, the people that it was attracting were specifically fugitives, exiles, runaway slaves, criminals, and other outcasts. And because of this, there was a whole lot of men and not a lot of women, meaning that Rome was not producing any future generations of its own. And so they had a brilliant idea to abduct women from neighboring cities, because that won't backfire at all. And they even had an event. Oh yes, and they invited the Sabines and the Latins to the festival of Cronus, held at Circus Maximus. And while the men were distracted with the festivities and the shows and all the lively activities going on, the residents of Rome stole their women. This is known as the abduction of the Sabine women. And you know what? They were very quick to find out what was going on. Their wives, their daughters, their children, and they were not okay with it. Not okay at all. They declared war. This was a war that Romulus was victorious in. Rome's first triumph. And I won't spend too much time here as there's a lot going on, but we'll give you the rundown. Basically, the Sabine king, Titus Tatius, he wasn't taking this lying down. In fact, he was standing up. He did another storm of the city. But remember, Rome is a walled city, so they gained access by bribing the commander's daughter. And she accepted because she believed she would be receiving hundreds of golden bracelets. However, once they barged through the city, what she received instead was a bunch of golden shields, trampling her into the ground. KO. However, in this battle, Romulus seemed to be losing. Thus, he prayed to the god Jupiter, vowing to build a temple in his honor if he would grant them a way to win. And soon thereafter, the abducted Sabine women intervened in the war, pleading for the fighting to stop. And they succeeded in this. The rulers, Titus Tatius and Romulus, met up and made a peace pact. A truce was formed between the Romans and the Sabines, Tatius and Romulus agreeing to form as a joint reign, as both being the kings of Rome. And this joint ruling lasted for about 5 years, and they integrated each other's customs, from calendars to gods, even military tactics. But this harmony ceased when Tatius became a little bit of a naughty man, a little bit of a naughty nunu. He was caught sheltering some of his allies who had robbed the Lavanians and KO'd some of their ambassadors. And the Senate decided that Tatius had to pay with his life. He was forced to go to Lavinium as a sacrifice. He's going to sacrifice himself. No, you can't. There must be another way. And it was whilst he was in Lavinium, Tatius got caught in a riot and was assassinated. KO. Leaving Romulus as the sole king of Rome once more. And for the next 20 years, Romulus sought to expand Rome through war, such as in Fidenae and the Etruscan city of Veii. And when Numitor, the king of Alba Longa, when he passed away, Romulus incorporated Alba Longa into Rome's government and lands, where many of Alba Longa's inhabitants moved to Rome as well. The cake is done. When I say you guys ain't ready, you guys ain't ready. The cake has finished, just like Romulus's life. This is my Roman Empire. I think I went a little heavy on the milk in the middle, but it don't matter, but she's still good. Let's have a close-up. Isn't she beautiful? So let's finish off with what happened to Romulus at the end of his life. Romulus ruled for approximately 37 years, and the cause of his death it's a mystery. A murder mystery. No. In one myth, Romulus mysteriously disappeared when there was a sudden and quite frightening storm. Sounds a little suspicious. In another version, Romulus was chosen to leave his mortal life behind and join his father, Mars, to become a god. There was also suspicions that Romulus's death was plotted by the Senate in order to resume their power, as throughout Romulus's reign he became more autocratic, and the Senate, they didn't like that, and they became resentful. A murder mystery. And that is the myth, the founding of Rome, and with the brothers Romulus and Remus. And now I want to try some cake, but not with this little knife. What is this? A knife for ants? Right, so let's see what all the hype is about. Literally no one hyped this up but me, but oh well. Well, today has been a fun day. Thank you for spending it with someone like me. Can you see that? See the layers? Wow. This seems like a fork cake, but I'm gonna use a spoon. Excuse me, I'm just transcending to another plane. It's really good. I thought the pastry would taste more like a pie pastry, but it's very sweet. It's like a shortbread dough. What a lovely day. And like many myths and legends, there is a lot of debate with the reality of Romulus and Remus. Were they real? Were they myth? Maybe it's both. Regardless, I had a great time researching, baking, and sharing it with you guys. Hope you had a great time too. Feel free to pop in the comments with stories you want me to cover in any country of any folklore, and even better if it's paired with a recipe. Share the love with a subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Ciao!